Hi guys, in this video we're going to have a look at how we solve inequalities using the flowchart. So if you haven't seen the video on how to solve equations using the flowchart, definitely give that a look first, because we're going to use exactly the same method to solve these inequalities. Okay, so let's get cracking with this first example then. So like I said, I'm going to use the flowchart to do this. So I'm going to start off with x. And the first thing I do to x is times by 6. So we use BIDMAS for this. So the multiplying definitely comes before the adding. So I'm going to times by 6. Then I'm going to add 11. And then I get 29. Okay, so that's the flow chart of what's going on with this one. And then I need to reverse it. So 29, take away 11, divided by 6. And then back to x. So I just do the opposite of everything. Okay, now for the answer then, this is where it's slightly different. X is on the left-hand side. So x is going to be on the left-hand side. Then instead of having an equals, I have my inequality symbol, and then I just need to work out what the answer is to the flowchart. So 29 take away 11 is 18, divided by 6 is 3. So then I put 3. Okay, so whichever side x is on, this case is on the left-hand side, x is on the left-hand side, inequality symbol is the same, and then just bear in mind, obviously, once you reverse the flowchart, you put your answer there. Let's do another one then. So let's go for the second one. So again, I'm going to draw the flowchart. So I have x, I times it by 3 first, then I take away 4, and then I get 11. So don't be put off if it's on the other side. Just do the flowchart exactly the same as if it was the other way around. Reverse the flowchart then. So go backwards, do the opposite. So I plus 4. And I divide by 3. And I get back to x. So again, be careful. X is now on the right-hand side. So on my answer, x must be on the right-hand side. Then I have my inequality symbol. And obviously I need to work out what x is. So 11 plus 4 is 15, divided by 3 is 5. Okay, next one then. So a little bit trickier now, another step involved, but again, the flowchart makes this really easy. So I start off with x, I've got a times by 2, then add 5, and then I can divide by 3. So let's write that down. And obviously I get to 7. So I reverse it and do the opposite. So I times by 3, I subtract 5, I divide by 2, and I get back to x. So x in the question is on the left-hand side. So I'm going to put x and my answer on the left-hand side, then my inequality symbol, and I'm just going to go through the flowchart. So 7 times 3 is 21, take away 5 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. And there you have it. Next question here then, again I'm just going to do the flowchart. So I've got my x, and I divide by 2 first, because this minus 3 is not being divided by 2. It's a little bit different to this one. Only the x is being divided by 2, so using BIDMAS, that's what I'm going to do first. So I'll divide by 2, then I'm going to take away 3, and I'm going to get 2. Then I'm going to go backwards and do the opposite. So plus 3 times 2 and get back to x. This time x is on the right hand side, so I'm going to put x on the right hand side, then my inequality symbol, not an equals, and I'm going to work it out. So 2 plus 3 is 5, times by 2 is 10. There we go. Okay, when you've got a bracket, the first thing I would do is expand it. So just to the side here, I'm going to expand it. If you're unsure of how to expand brackets, check out my expanding single brackets video as well, and that'll go through some examples, so hopefully that'll help. But I'm just going to do it now very quickly. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm just going to write that out underneath the question, because that's always the first step, is expand brackets. And once you've got this, it's exactly the same as these ones. I'm just going to use the flowchart. So x times by 3 plus 6, and I get back to 8. Going backwards, minus the 6, do the opposite, divided by 3, and x. Now this time the question has x on the left-hand side, so I'm going to have x on the left-hand side, then I'm going to have the inequality symbol exactly the same, and I'm going to work this out. So 8 take away 6 is 2. 2 divided by 3, not nice, so leave it as a fraction. 2 divided by 3. So x is less than 2/3. Okay, this one here, very, very rare. In fact, I don't think this will come up in Foundation, but just in case, I'm just going to do an example just so you're aware. So with this one, I've got x, now it's minus x. So in this particular case, we actually times it by minus 1. There's actually a cheeky 1 here. We never put minus 1x because it's just the same as minus x, but technically it is minus 1x. So actually I am timesing by minus 1, and then I am adding 15, and then I get 8. And if you go backwards, we minus 15, I divide by minus 1, and I get back to x. Now this is where you need to be a little bit careful. This is why it tends to come up in Foundation, but just in case, x is on the left hand side, then I put my inequality symbol, and then I work this out. So 8 take away 15 would be minus 7, and then minus 7 divided by minus 1, so minus divided by a minus will give me a positive, so I'll get that. But let's just have a look, see what happens. It's saying x is greater or equal to 7. So let's say x was 10, which is obviously bigger than 7. 15 take away 10 will give us 5, which is obviously not bigger than 8. Okay, so 5 would be greater or equal to 8. It does not work, so that is not correct. The reason is that if you divide or times by a negative, you need to flip the symbol. Or the inequality, sorry. Okay, so instead of having the inequality facing towards the right, I'm going to flip it round, have it facing towards the left. Okay, so it's just a little thing to remember. If you times or divide by a negative, you just got to turn the inequality the other way around. If you remember that, it'd be absolutely fine. But like I said in Foundation, don't think it'll come up, but just in case, just something to remember. Okay, I've got 3 more examples now, just slightly trickier, of when we've got variables on both sides. So as you can see on the first example here, I've got x's on both sides. So again, if you haven't seen the video for how to solve equations, definitely give it a look because the process is exactly the same. So what I need to do is have a look at which one is the smallest x. Well, 6x, 2x, clearly 2x is the smallest one. So that's the one I'm going to get rid of. So to get rid of it, I do the opposite. So I minus 2x to both sides to keep it equal, in which case I'm going to have 4x plus 3, then my inequality symbol stays the same, and 19. Once you've done that, as you probably guessed, it's just the flowchart again. So x times by 4, add 3, and I get 19, go backwards, all the way to x. Okay, and x is on the left hand side, so there's my x, there's my inequality symbol, so let's go through it. 19 take away 3 is 16, divided by 4 is 4. Okay, so there we go, done. Exactly the same thing with this one. 3x, 4x, which one is smaller? Well, clearly 3x is the smaller one, so that's the one I'm going to get rid of. So I'm going to minus 3x to both sides. So I'll have 9, then my inequality symbol stays the same. 4x, take away 3x is just x, or 1x, but we always say x, and then obviously plus 5. Now you might be able to just do that in your head, it's absolutely fine. I'm just going to quickly do a flow chart. So x, I then plus 5, and I get 9, going backwards, 9, minus 5, and then x. This time x is on the right hand side, so I'm going to put x on the right hand side of my answer. Then I've got my inequality, and obviously 9 take away 5 is 4. So there we go, there is your answer. And the last one, just to make a quick point here, when you're looking for the smaller one, lots of people make this mistake and say 3 is smaller than 5, but be careful, it's minus 3, minus 5. So minus 5k is actually smaller than minus 3k, okay? So that's the one I'm going to get rid of. So do the opposite. If it's minus 5k, the opposite would be to plus 5k. So I need to do that to both sides to keep it the same. In which case, on the left-hand side, I'm going to have 7 plus 2k, because minus 3 plus 5 is 2. Then I've got my inequality symbol, and obviously minus 5 plus 5 will cancel. I'm just left with 12. Straight up flowchart again. So k, I times it by 2 first, then I add 7, and then I get 12. So I'm going to go backwards, and minus 7, divide by 2, and get back to k. Now k is on the left-hand side, so in my answer it will be on the left-hand side. Then I can copy the inequality symbol. 12 take away 7 is 5, so 5 divided by 2, it's not nice, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction. 5 divided by 2. Okay guys, so hopefully that helps. Like I said, it's exactly the same method. Just got to be careful not to put an equals, and make sure you copy the inequality. As long as you remember that, as well as if in the question x is on the left, your answer needs to be on the left. If it's on the right, your answer needs to be on the right. And if, just like in the example I did on the other page, if you are timesing or dividing by a negative, just make sure you flip the inequality. So unlikely to come up in foundation, but just in case, make sure you do that. Hopefully that helps, guys. Thanks for watching.